Now it's time to add in the apples because we need some to catch in that basket. The first thing we need to do is go over here and load the sprite sheet in. Now there's no easy way to do this. There's no shortcut or anything. So it's the same way that we usually do it. Game.load sprite sheet, and then we need the key, which is apple, and the path is the second parameter, images/main/apple.png, and the images are 63 by 78 high. That's why we've got that here, 6378. So that makes it into a sprite sheet. Now I'm going to go over here to the JavaScript folder, and I'm going to make a new folder called Classes. And inside there we're going to make a file that's going to be a class. Now if you haven't worked with classes in JavaScript yet, don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it. We'll call it apple.js. And then over here on the snippets, if you go to the class snippets, let's grab a Phaser group class right up there at the top. Now what this is an object that can be copied over and over. And we'll call it Apple with a capital A. And when we create a new apple, the constructor is what fires, what it's called when the new apple is created. So we can do all of our setup in there. And we'll make an image in here, and we'll just call it this image equals game add sprite. And we'll set it at 0, 0, and we'll use the key apple. And then we have to add it to the group, the same we do in any Phaser group. Now this extends Phaser group, which means it has all the properties of Phaser group plus whatever we add into it. And let's anchor that image into the center. And we can test it out by going to state main. And we'll say var apple equals new apple with capital A for the class. And then I'm going to use a little shortcut here, align center apple. And that will put it right in the middle of the screen. And the one thing I forgot to do is include the file. We'll just do that down here at the bottom. I'll copy this. And it's in JavaScript classes apple.js. And there it is, right in the middle of the screen there. Now we can add some more functionality in it because it extends the group. It also has an update function in it. And we can say this.y plus plus. Now when we run it, the apple should fall straight down. But we haven't put in any code yet to catch the apple. And also, just one apple is kind of boring. So let's go in here and make a bunch of apples. And we'll just make a function called makeApples. And we'll say, let's say 50 apples. That should do it, right? 50. And I'll just copy this right here, var apple equals new apple. We don't need to put it in the center. We need to put it off the top at the top of the screen. And we can set that up here in our apple class. This y equals, and we could put it at a value like -100, but then they'd all still be in the same place. And they'd all be in the 1x position. So let's grab a random number, and you can find that under Phaser snippets miscellaneous. So we'll say -100 plus, or minus rather, game.ran.integer in range, and somewhere between 0 and 200. We can say this x equals, There's two ways we can do that. We can say game random integer and range, and we could say 0 and game width. And the other way to do it as a shortcut is this x equals game world random x. And that would pretty much do the same thing. So now we just need to call that make apples. Wow, look at them go. First of all, that's too many, and also they're too big. Let's use the same thing we did here, align scale to game width, and we'll put that in the apple here. And we'll just scale the image. And we'll make it, let's try 10% of the game. That looks good. Now let's make a lot less apples. I'll change that to, we'll say 10 for now. There we go. That's much better. Now we need some bombs in there too, and we can use this random function here to say the image frame equals somewhere between 0 and 1. Because frames start at 0, so there we go. So that's a 50% chance it's going to be a bomb.